Welcome to the channel, The Coin Hunter. And if you've been handling Washington quarters for decades, you probably remember 1992 as just another year when these coins passed through your hands without a second thought. A time when quarters bought a decent cup of coffee and nobody imagined that certain examples from that very year could command six-figure sums in today's market. But here's the reality that's causing serious collectors to re-examine every 1992 Washington quarter they encounter. Specific examples of this Denver Mint coin have documented sales reaching $120 million at major auction houses, and understanding exactly what separates these extraordinary specimens from common circulation strikes could mean the difference between spending pocket change and discovering a legitimate numismatic treasure. Now, I need to be absolutely clear about what we're discussing here. At a heritage auction sale, particular 1992 Washington quarters with extraordinary characteristics brought this remarkable figure. And this isn't speculation or internet hype. This is documented auction history that you can verify through professional numismatic sources. The 1992 Washington quarter was struck at the Denver Mint during a production run that created millions of ordinary circulation coins. But within that massive mintage, certain pieces were produced with die errors, striking anomalies, or achieved preservation states so exceptional that they become objects of intense collector competition. The Denver facility in 1992 was operating at full capacity, striking quarters by the millions to meet the demands of American commerce. And most of these coins performed exactly as intended. They circulated through the economy, accumulated wear, and eventually disappeared into collections or were removed from circulation as damaged pieces. Here's where the technical details get really interesting for anyone who understands coin production. The Denver Mint uses multiple die pairs during any given year's production, and these dies undergo tremendous pressure with each strike, sometimes developing cracks, clashes, or other characteristics that create collectible varieties. When examining a 1992 Washington quarter, you're looking first at the basic strike quality. Sharp details in Washington's hair, crisp definition in the eagle's feathers on the reverse, and full separation of design elements indicate a well-struck coin that began life with superior eye appeal. The grading populations from PCGS and NGC tell an important story about condition rarity. While millions of 1992 quarters exist in circulated grades, the population drops dramatically as you move up the grading scale, and in the highest grades, MS 67, MS 68, and above, the census numbers become remarkably small, creating genuine scarcity that drives values exponentially higher. Authentication of these premium examples requires submission to one of the major grading services, because the difference between a $5 coin and a five-figure coin comes down to precise technical evaluation that only professional graders can provide with certainty. If you're finding this information valuable, I'd appreciate your subscription to The Coin Hunter so we can continue bringing you thoroughly researched content that respects your intelligence and experience as collectors. The documented auction history reveals something fascinating about how the market values these coins across different condition states. A typical circulated 1992 quarter trades for face value or perhaps a small premium if it's a nice AU example. But once you reach the MS 65 level, premiums begin to appear, and by MS 67, you're looking at significant money, with each incremental grade improvement potentially adding thousands or tens of thousands of dollars to the value. The specific characteristics that professional graders evaluate include surface preservation. Are there bag marks, contact marks, or hairlines that detract from the coin's visual appeal? The luster quality matters enormously. Does the coin display the original mint frost with vibrant cartwheel effect, or has the surface been compromised by cleaning, environmental damage, or poor storage? Strike quality becomes crucial at high grades. Are all the fine details present, Or was this a weak strike that left certain areas soft and undefined? Understanding the minting process explains why this matters so much to serious collectors. Each die pair produces coins with slightly different characteristics, and certain die marriages are known for producing superior strikes, while others consistently delivered weaker impressions. So even among high-grade examples, not all 1992 D quarters are created equal. The next coin we're examining has a documented auction history that tells a remarkable story about market evolution and why certain dates command extraordinary premiums. Now, let me share what separates valuable examples from common versions, because this knowledge could be worth serious money if you're examining your own collection. First, look for completely original surfaces that have never been cleaned, dipped, or artificially enhanced. Collectors and grading services place tremendous value on natural, untouched coins. Second, examine the coin under good lighting to assess the luster quality, which should be vibrant and unimpaired. Third, use magnification to check for die varieties or striking errors that might add significant premiums. Double dies, repunched mint marks, and die cracks are among the characteristics that create collectible varieties worth far more than standard strikes. The market analysis for 1992 D Washington quarters shows interesting trends based on actual sales data. Demand for high-grade modern coins has strengthened considerably over the past decade as collectors who grew up with these coins reach their peak earning years and pursue the finest examples from their childhood era with serious financial resources. Fellow collectors, if this analysis has been helpful, consider subscribing and sharing with others who appreciate serious numismatic information that goes beyond surface-level hype. Coming up, we'll look at a variety that even experienced collectors often overlook despite its significant value potential in premium grades. Current availability versus collector demand creates the fundamental economics driving prices. Millions of people remember 1992 D quarters from everyday use, but only a tiny fraction of the original mintage survives in true gem condition, and even fewer achieve superb status in MS67 or higher grades. So you have broad nostalgic demand meeting extremely limited high-grade supply, which is exactly the recipe for strong price appreciation. Discovery accounts from collectors who found significant examples provide both inspiration and practical guidance. Some premium 1992 D quarters have emerged from mint sets that were stored properly for decades, preserving the coins in their original condition, while others have surfaced from estate collections where someone had the foresight to save pristine examples. The reality that even experienced collectors need to understand is that condition makes all the difference with modern coins. A difference of 1 or 2 grade points can mean a difference of thousands of dollars. So if you have 1992 D quarters that appear to be in exceptional condition, professional authentication through PCGS, NGC, or ANAX is absolutely worth pursuing. What's ahead involves a discovery story that changed how collectors view an entire series and demonstrated that even recent coins can achieve remarkable values. The comparative context helps us understand where 1992 D quarters fit within the broader Washington quarter series. This isn't one of the key dates like 1932D or 1932S. But in superb condition, it competes with classic rarities purely on the basis of condition rarity rather than absolute scarcity. And that's a concept sophisticated collectors understand well. Sometimes the finest known examples of common dates become more valuable than average examples of rare dates. Technical knowledge that reveals value in these coins comes from understanding modern minting practices. The U.S. Mint in 1992 was producing coins primarily for commerce, not collectors, so quality control focused on functionality rather than numismatic perfection, which means gems escaped into circulation by chance rather than by design. Research that uncovers hidden potential involves checking population reports regularly, because as more coins get submitted for grading, the census numbers change, and what seems like a condition rarity today might become more available tomorrow. Or conversely, what looks common might prove to be genuinely rare in top grades. The grading populations tell us that 1992 D Washington quarters in MS68 or higher are genuinely scarce, with single-digit or low double-digit populations in the finest grades. And these are the pieces that command the strongest prices and attract the most serious collector attention. Supporting this channel with a subscription helps us invest in better research and content. So if you're finding this worthwhile, I'd welcome your support as we continue delivering the detailed analysis that experienced collectors deserve and expect. Next, the 1984 D Washington quarter, and this particular date has a market story that demonstrates how modern coins can achieve extraordinary values when exceptional preservation meets strong collector demand. Documented sales through major auction houses have reached $137 million for premium examples. And this isn't theoretical pricing or wishful thinking. This is actual money changing hands for coins that most Americans handled routinely during the mid-1980s. The year 1984 places us in an era many of you remember vividly. Ronald Reagan was president. The Los Angeles Olympics captivated American attention, and Washington quarters were still entirely composed of the copper-nickel-clad composition that had replaced silver in 1965. The Denver Mint struck millions of these quarters for everyday commerce, and a vast majority circulated extensively, accumulating the wear and damage that comes from years passing through cash registers, vending machines, and pocket change. Here's what creates value in 1984. D quarters. We're not talking about silver content or classical rarity. We're discussing condition rarity at the very highest levels of preservation, where coins exhibit technical perfection that professional grading services recognize with premium grades. PCGS has certified examples that sold for substantial sums, and the record for superb gem specimens stands at impressive figures set at auctions where serious collectors competed intensely for the finest known examples. When you examine a 1984 D Washington quarter, you're looking for surfaces that appear as they did the moment they left the dies. No circulation wear whatsoever, no contact marks from rolling around with other coins in bags or bins, no environmental damage from poor storage, and ideally, vibrant original luster that brings the coin to life under proper lighting. The technical specifications that matter here involve understanding what grading services evaluate. Strike quality, which means full detail in Washington's hair curls and the eagle's breast feathers. Surface preservation, meaning freedom from distracting marks or impairments. Luster quality, which should be full, frosty, and original. And eye appeal. That subjective but important quality that makes one coin more attractive than another, even at the same numeric grade. Authentication details become crucial when we're discussing 5-figure or 6-figure coins. Professional grading by PCGS, NGC, or ANAX provides the third-party verification that serious collectors require before investing significant money, and these services examine coins under magnification, weigh them to verify authenticity, and apply consistent grading standards that the market recognizes and trusts. The grading population data reveals why certain 1984 D quarters command extraordinary prices in circulated grades and lower mint state levels. These coins are common and trade for minimal premiums, but as you ascend the grading scale into MS67 territory and above, the populations become dramatically smaller, creating genuine scarcity where originally common coins become genuinely rare in top condition. The next coin we're covering next has grading population numbers that explain its current strong market demand and why knowledgeable collectors pursue it aggressively. Market analysis based on actual sales shows that demand for high-grade modern Washington quarters has strengthened as baby boomers, the generation that grew up handling these exact coins, pursue them with the financial resources of their peak earning years and retirement savings. The documented auction results tell a compelling story. Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Great Collections have all handled premium 1984 D quarters, and the prices realized demonstrate that serious money flows toward the finest examples when they appear at auction. Condition importance cannot be overstated with modern coins like this. The difference between an MS-65 and an MS-68 might seem like just 3 grade points, but it can represent the difference between a $20 coin and a coin worth thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. So if you possess 1984 D quarters that appear to be in exceptional condition, professional evaluation is absolutely worthwhile. Discovery accounts provide both hope and practical guidance. Some collectors have found premium 1984 D quarters in original mint sets that were stored carefully for decades, while others have located exceptional examples in estate collections where someone had the wisdom to save pristine coins. If you value accurate, well-researched coin information, subscribing to the Coin Hunter ensures you won't miss future discoveries we uncover through thorough research and documentation. Stay with me because the next coin involves a minting error with fascinating technical characteristics that even experienced collectors find remarkable. Professional guidance for anyone examining 1984 D quarters. First, assess whether the coin appears to have circulated at all. Anywhere whatsoever limits the coin to AU grades at best, which carry minimal premiums for this date. Second, if the coin appears uncirculated, examine it under good lighting for bag marks, contact marks, or hairlines that might limit its grade. Third, if the coin looks exceptional, consider professional authentication, because the population reports show that truly superb examples are genuinely scarce and command prices that justify the modest cost of grading service submission. The comparative context helps us understand the 1984 D's place in numismatic history. This isn't a coin with a tiny mintage or a dramatic error that creates obvious rarity. Instead, it's a coin that demonstrates how condition rarity can create value even in modern issues with large production numbers. Historical context behind the production circumstances matters for understanding these coins. The mid-1980s U.S. Mint was focused on efficient, high-volume production to meet the needs of American commerce, not on creating numismatic treasures. So coins were struck, bagged, transported, and distributed with functional rather than collectible purposes in mind, which means that pristine examples surviving in true gem condition represent lucky accidents rather than intentional preservation. Current market trends driving demand include several factors based on actual sales data. Nostalgic appeal as collectors pursue coins from their youth, recognition among sophisticated collectors that condition rarity can equal absolute rarity in terms of market value, and strong competition among registry set participants who need finest known examples to compete effectively in PCGS and NGC set rankings. Technical die characteristics don't create major varieties for most 1984 D quarters, but examining coins under magnification can reveal minor die cracks, clash marks, or other characteristics that add interest and potentially modest premiums beyond the base value established by grade alone. Research methods for determining whether your 1984 D quarters warrant professional evaluation involve honest assessment of condition. If the coin shows any circulation wear, it's not a candidate for premium value. If it appears uncirculated but has numerous bag marks or contact marks, it might grade MS-63 or MS-64, which carry minimal premiums. But if the coin appears virtually flawless with outstanding luster and eye appeal, professional grading could reveal a genuinely valuable piece. Share this information with fellow collectors who appreciate substantive content, and subscribe to the Coin Hunter for continued quality research that treats you with the respect your experience deserves. Next, the 1974 D Washington quarter, and if you were handling pocket change in the mid-1970s, you passed countless examples of this coin without imagining that specific specimens would eventually command $143 million at documented auction sales. But that's exactly what has happened as collectors pursue the finest surviving examples with serious financial commitment. The year 1974 places us in interesting historical context. America was navigating the aftermath of the oil crisis. Richard Nixon resigned the presidency that August, and the economy was experiencing the stagflation that would characterize much of the decade. The Denver Mint was striking Washington quarters by the millions, all composed of the copper-nickel-clad composition that had replaced silver nearly a decade earlier. And these coins entered circulation immediately to serve the needs of American commerce. Now, what creates extraordinary value in 1974? D quarters isn't silver content, isn't a famous error, isn't minuscule mintage. It's the preservation of pristine examples in condition states so exceptional that they represent genuine rarity despite the large original production numbers. At a heritage auction sale, particular 1974, D Washington quarters brought remarkable sums, and similar results have been documented at Stack's Bowers and through great collections, establishing that serious collector demand exists for the finest examples. When professional numismatists examine a 1974 D quarter, they're evaluating multiple technical factors that determine grade and value. Strike quality matters enormously, because even among uncirculated coins, some receive stronger strikes than others, resulting in sharper details in Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers. Surface preservation separates good coins from great coins and great coins from superb coins. Every little bag mark, every contact mark, every hairline potentially costs grade points, and in the rarefied atmosphere of MS-67 and higher grades, each grade point can represent thousands or tens of thousands of dollars in value. The grading population data from PCGS and NGC reveals the fundamental reality that creates value here. While millions of 1974 D quarters were produced, the number surviving in true gem condition is remarkably small, and the population in superb gem grades, MS-67 and above, consists of single-digit or low double-digit quantities, creating genuine scarcity that drives competitive bidding when examples appear at auction. The next coin we're examining has a documented auction history that tells a remarkable story about market evolution and collector priorities. Authentication through established grading services provides the credibility essential for high-value transactions. When a coin is certified by PCGS, NGC, or ANAX, buyers know the grade is legitimate and the coin is genuine, which is why auction houses and serious collectors deal almost exclusively in certified coins at premium price levels. Your subscription and engagement help us invest in better research and content. So if you're finding this worthwhile, I'd welcome your support as we continue delivering the analysis that separates superficial coin content from genuinely valuable information. The documented sales history shows interesting market progression. A decade ago, premium 1974. D quarters commanded strong prices, but nothing approaching current levels, demonstrating that as baby boomers reach retirement age with accumulated wealth and pursue coins from their childhood with serious financial resources, demand has strengthened significantly, pushing prices upward based on simple supply and demand economics, where limited supply meets growing demand. Condition importance with 1974. D quarters follows the same pattern we see with other modern issues. Circulated examples trade for face value or minimal premiums. Lower-grade, uncirculated coins carry modest premiums. But once you reach MS-66, and especially MS-67 or higher, values accelerate dramatically because the population numbers become so small. Discovery accounts reveal that premium examples have emerged from several sources. Original mint sets that were stored properly represent one source, as these coins never circulated and sometimes survive in exceptional condition. Estate collections where someone saved pristine examples provide another source. And occasionally, roll collections that were stored carefully have yielded gems when finally opened and examined. Next up, we'll examine why a particular date and mint mark combination commands serious collector attention based on technical factors most casual observers never notice. Professional guidance for evaluating your own 1974 D quarters. Examine each coin carefully under good lighting, looking first for any signs of circulation wear, which immediately eliminates premium value potential. If the coin appears uncirculated, assess the surface quality. Are there numerous contact marks and bag marks? Or does the coin appear relatively clean? Check the luster. Is it vibrant and original, or has the surface been compromised by cleaning or environmental exposure? If the coin appears exceptional, professional grading is worth considering, because the population reports confirm that truly superb examples are genuinely scarce and command prices well worth the grading service submission cost. The comparative context within the Washington Quarter Series helps us understand the 1974 D's position. This isn't one of the classic rarities like the 1932D or 1932S, nor is it an error coin with obvious collectability. But in top grades, it competes with established rarities purely based on condition scarcity, which is a concept that sophisticated collectors understand completely. Market trends based on actual data show several factors driving demand. Nostalgia, as collectors pursue coins they remember from childhood. Competition among registry set participants who need finest known examples for top rankings, and recognition that condition rarity creates legitimate investment potential in coins that most people consider common. Historical context about production helps explain why gems are scarce. The U.S. Mint in 1974 was producing coins for functional use, not numismatic purposes, so quality control focused on whether coins met basic specifications rather than whether they would satisfy collectors decades later. Which means pristine examples represent fortunate accidents of production and handling rather than intentional preservation. Technical knowledge reveals that not all uncirculated 1974 D quarters received equal strikes. Some die pairs produce consistently sharp strikes with full detail, while others delivered weaker impressions with softer details and the high points of the design. So even among high-grade examples, strike quality creates quality distinctions that affect desirability and value. Research methods involve checking the current PCGS and NGC population reports, which are updated regularly as new coins are submitted for grading, providing real-time data about how many examples exist at each grade level. This information helped collectors understand whether a particular coin represents genuine condition rarity or simply strong grade for a relatively available issue. Next, the 1973 Washington Quarter, and here's a coin that demonstrates how particular production characteristics can create substantial collector interest even in coins that millions of Americans handled during the early 1970s. The record for premium examples stands at $179 million, set at major auction houses where collectors competed intensely for the finest known specimens. The year 1973 marked the final full year of American involvement in Vietnam. The Watergate scandal was developing, and the first oil crisis was about to transform American economic life, providing historical context that resonates with anyone who lived through that era. The Philadelphia Mint, indicated by the absence of a mint mark on these quarters, struck millions of examples for circulation, and like most coins intended for everyday commerce, the vast majority accumulated wear, damage, and the various impairments that come from years of handling. But within that massive production run, certain pieces escaped into collections in pristine condition, and those survivors in the highest preservation states have become genuinely valuable as collectors pursue them decades later. PCGS has certified examples that achieved remarkable prices at auction, demonstrating that documented market demand exists for coins that appear virtually perfect despite being nearly 50 years old. When examining a 1973 Washington quarter for potential value, you're looking at the same factors that matter for all modern quarters: strike quality, surface preservation, luster quality, and overall eye appeal. The combination of these factors determines the grade that professional services assign, and that grade determines value in a market where single grade point differences can mean dramatic value variations. The grading population numbers tell the story clearly. PCGS and NGC population reports show millions of 1973 quarters exist in lower grades. But as you ascend the grading scale, populations decline, and by the time you reach MS67 or MS68 territory, you're looking at genuinely small populations that create condition rarity despite the originally large mintage. What's ahead involves a discovery story that changed how collectors view an entire series and prove that even relatively recent coins can achieve stunning values. Authentication details matter enormously when discussing coins worth thousands or potentially tens of thousands of dollars. Professional certification by PCGS, NGC, or ANAX provides the third-party verification that serious collectors require, and these services apply consistent standards, use professional-grade equipment and expertise, and create holder labels that the market recognizes and trusts universally. The documented auction results from heritage auctions, Stax Bowers, and great collections demonstrate that real money has been paid for premium 1973 quarters, establishing market precedents that guide current values and give collectors confidence that strong demand exists for top-quality examples. If you're finding this information valuable, I'd appreciate your subscription to the Coin Hunter so we can continue bringing you thoroughly researched content that respects your intelligence and treats you as the experienced collectors you are. Market analysis reveals interesting dynamics. Baby boomers who handled 1,973 quarters as teenagers or young adults now pursue them with retirement savings and accumulated wealth, creating strong demand for finest known examples that evoke nostalgia while potentially serving as alternative investments. Condition importance follows the familiar modern coin pattern. Circulated examples trade near face value. Lower mint state grades carry minimal premiums, but MS66 and especially MS67 or higher grades command significant money because population scarcity creates genuine rarity in top condition states. The coin we're covering next has grading population numbers that explain its current strong market demand and why sophisticated collectors target it specifically. Discovery accounts provide encouraging news for collectors. Premium 1973 quarters have emerged from original mint sets that were stored properly for decades, from estate collections where someone saved pristine examples, and occasionally from roll collections that remained sealed until recent examination. Professional guidance for anyone examining 1,973 quarters starts with realistic assessment. Look for any signs of circulation wear, which eliminates premium value immediately. Examine surface quality for bag marks and contact marks that limit grade potential. Assess luster quality to ensure it's original and vibrant rather than compromised by cleaning or environmental damage. And if the coin appears exceptional, consider professional grading, because the population data confirms that's superb. Examples are genuinely scarce and potentially quite valuable. The comparative context within the Washington Quarter Series shows the 1973 occupying an interesting position. It's not a first-year issue, not a key date with low mintage, not an obvious error coin, But in top grades, it competes successfully with recognized rarities based purely on condition scarcity, a concept that registry set collectors understand perfectly as they compete for finest known examples. Historical production context helps explain the scarcity of gems. The Philadelphia Mint in 1973 was operating at high capacity to meet commercial demand, striking coins by the millions with efficiency and speed prioritized over numismatic quality. So coins that emerged with superior strikes and pristine surfaces represented fortunate accidents rather than intentional production for collectors. Market trends driving current demand include nostalgia, registry set competition, and growing recognition among sophisticated collectors that condition rarity in modern coins creates legitimate investment potential comparable to classic rarities. Technical characteristics that affect value include strike quality. Some 1973 quarters received sharper strikes than others, creating better defined details in Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers, and surface quality, where even tiny marks can cost grade points at the highest levels. Research methods for collectors involve studying current population reports from PCGS and NGC, which provide exact census data showing how many examples exist at each grade level. Information that helps collectors understand whether a particular coin represents genuine condition rarity or simply represents a strong example of a relatively available issue in that grade. Next, the 1967 Washington quarter, and this coin carries particular significance for anyone who remembers the late 1960s, when America was experiencing profound social change. The Vietnam War dominated headlines, and these quarters circulated by the billions as everyday pocket change. Yet documented sales have reached $255 million for the finest known examples, proving that even coins from this relatively recent era can achieve remarkable values when exceptional preservation meets intents. Collector demand. The year 1967 marked the summer of love, urban unrest in American cities, and continued adjustment to the clad coinage that had replaced silver quarters just 2 years earlier in 1965. The Philadelphia Mint struck these quarters without mint marks, continuing the practice begun in 1965, where no mint marks appeared on any coins regardless of production facility, a policy designed to discourage hoarding during the transition away from silver coinage. Production numbers were enormous as the mint worked to satisfy commercial demand for coins, and the vast majority of 1967 quarters entered circulation immediately, serving their intended purpose of facilitating everyday transactions before eventually wearing out or being lost. Here's the fundamental reality that creates value. Within that massive production run, certain coins were struck with superior quality, handled carefully, and somehow survived the decades in pristine condition. And those survivors represent genuine condition rarities that command substantial premiums from collectors pursuing the finest examples. The record for this date stands at impressive figures documented through heritage auctions and other major numismatic auction houses, establishing that serious market demand exists for top-quality specimens. When professional graders evaluate a 1967 Washington quarter, they're examining strike quality. Are Washington's hair details sharp and fully defined? Are the eagle's breast feathers crisp and well separated? Because strike quality varies even among uncirculated coins, with some pieces receiving stronger impressions than others. Surface preservation becomes crucial. Every bag mark, every contact mark, every tiny imperfection potentially costs grade points. And in the competitive world of MS-67 and higher grades, each grade point can represent thousands of dollars in value difference. Luster quality matters enormously. Original mint frost should be vibrant and unimpaired, showing the cartwheel effect characteristic of properly preserved uncirculated coins, and any cleaning, dipping, or environmental damage that compromises luster effects both grade and marketability. The grading population data from PCGS and NGC reveals why premium examples command significant prices, while millions of 1,967 quarters exist in lower grades. The populations in MS67 and especially MS68 or higher become remarkably small, creating genuine scarcity despite the originally large mintage. Fellow collectors, if this analysis has been helpful, consider subscribing and sharing with others who appreciate serious numismatic information that goes beyond surface-level discussion and provides substantive details you can actually use. Coming up, we'll look at a variety that even experienced collectors often overlook despite its significant value potential when found in top grades. Authentication through PCGS, NGC, or ANAX provides essential credibility when dealing with coins worth serious money. Professional certification confirms the grade, verifies authenticity, and creates a holder that the market recognizes and trusts, making coins more liquid and easier to sell when the time comes. The documented auction history shows interesting market evolution. Premium 1967 quarters have consistently brought strong prices at major auctions, with values generally trending upward over recent years as baby boomers pursue coins they remember from childhood with the financial resources of their peak earning years in retirement accounts. Condition importance cannot be overstated. A circulated 1,967 quarter trades at or near face value. A low-grade, uncirculated example might bring a few dollars, but an MS67 specimen commands hundreds or potentially thousands of dollars. And anything grading MS68 or higher enters rarefied territory, where prices can reach tens of thousands based on actual documented sales. Discovery accounts reveal that premium 1967 quarters have emerged from multiple sources. Original mint sets stored properly represent one source, though even mint set coins sometimes show handling marks or imperfect strikes. Estate collections where someone saved pristine examples provide another source. And occasionally, original bank wrap rolls that remained sealed for decades have yielded gems when finally opened and examined by knowledgeable collectors. Next up, we'll examine why a particular date and mint mark combination commands serious collector attention and represents the pinnacle of value in this series. Professional guidance for collectors examining 1967 quarters begins with honest condition assessment. Any circulation where eliminates premium value immediately, so look carefully under good lighting for even slight friction on the high points. If the coin appears uncirculated, examine surface quality for bag marks and contact marks that limit grade potential. Assess luster to ensure it's original and vibrant. And if the coin looks exceptional, professional grading is worth serious consideration. Because population data confirms that truly superb examples are genuinely scarce and valuable. The comparative context helps position the 1967 quarter within the broader Washington series. This isn't a first-year issue, isn't a silver coin, isn't a recognized error or variety, but in top grades, condition rarity creates value that competes with traditional rarities, demonstrating a concept sophisticated collectors understand. That condition rarity can equal absolute rarity in market terms. Historical production context explains the scarcity of gems. The U.S. Mint in 1967 was focused on high-volume production to meet massive commercial demand, not on creating collectible coins, so quality control emphasized functionality rather than numismatic perfection, meaning pristine examples represent fortunate accidents of production and subsequent preservation rather than intentional creation for collectors. Market trends driving demand include nostalgia, as collectors pursue coins from their youth, competition among registry set participants who need finest known examples for top rankings in PCGS and NGC set competitions, and growing recognition that condition rarity in modern coins creates legitimate investment opportunity. Technical details that create value differences include strike quality variations. Some 1967 quarters received sharper strikes than others, producing better detail in critical design areas, and surface quality, where microscopic evaluation reveals marks invisible to the naked eye but significant to professional graders determining whether a coin grades MS66, MS67, or higher. Next, the 1965 Washington quarter, and we've arrived at the coin that represents both a historic transition in American coinage and an extraordinary opportunity for collectors who understand condition rarity. This is the first year Washington quarters were struck in copper-nickel clad composition rather than silver, marking a watershed moment in numismatic history. And documented sales through major auction houses have reached $265 million for the finest known examples, establishing this date as the pinnacle of value within the clad Washington quarter series. The year 1965 carries enormous significance for anyone who lived through that era. This was the year the United States Mint abandoned silver coinage for general circulation due to rising silver prices that made the metal content worth more than face value, forcing a fundamental change in coin composition that many Americans viewed with suspicion and concern. The Coinage Act of 1965 authorized production of quarters with a pure copper core sandwiched between outer layers of copper-nickel alloy, creating the clad composition we still use today, and the 1965 Washington quarter was struck without a mint mark regardless of production facility. A deliberate decision designed to discourage hoarding and speculation during the changeover from silver to clad coinage. Production numbers were absolutely massive as the mint worked overtime to produce enough coins to meet commercial demand and replace worn silver quarters being withdrawn from circulation. And literally billions of 1965 quarters were struck at the Philadelphia and Denver facilities, though without mint marks, we cannot distinguish between production locations. The vast majority of these coins entered circulation immediately, serving exactly as intended, facilitating everyday transactions throughout the American economy, and most accumulated where damage and the various impairments that come from decades of handling. Here's the remarkable reality that creates extraordinary value. Despite the enormous original mintage, the number of 1,965 quarters surviving in pristine, superb gem condition is astonishingly small, creating genuine condition rarity that drives values in a six-figure territory for the finest known specimens. At heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, and through great collections, premium 1965 Washington quarters have brought stunning prices that establish clear market precedent and demonstrate that serious collector demand exists for top-quality examples. When professional numismatists examine a 1965 quarter for potential value, they evaluate multiple critical factors. Strike quality matters enormously because even among uncirculated coins, some received stronger strikes than others, resulting in sharper detail in Washington's hair curls, better definition in the facial features, and crisper separation in the eagle's breast feathers on the reverse. Surface preservation separates ordinary coins from valuable coins and valuable coins from truly exceptional coins. At the highest grade levels, every tiny mark matters. Every microscopic imperfection potentially costs grade points, and the difference between MS67 and MS68 can represent tens of thousands of dollars in value. Luster quality receives intense scrutiny. The coin should display vibrant, original mint frost with a characteristic cartwheel effect when rotated under light, and any compromise to the luster from cleaning, environmental exposure, or improper storage negatively affects both grade and value. I appeal that somewhat subjective but crucial factor combines all these elements into an overall assessment of the coin's visual impact and desirability. The grading population data from PCGS and NGC tells an extraordinary story about condition rarity. While hundreds of millions of 1965 quarters were originally produced, the population in MS-67 becomes quite small, and in MS-68 or higher grades. We're talking about genuinely tiny populations, sometimes single digits or low double digits, creating rarity that would be impressive even for a coin with a tiny original mintage. PCGS has certified examples that sold for remarkable sums, and NGC population reports confirm the exceptional scarcity of truly superb examples, establishing that this isn't hype or speculation, but documented reality based on actual census data. Authentication details become absolutely crucial when discussing coins potentially worth 5 or 6 figures. Professional certification by PCGS, NGC, or ANAX provides the third-party verification that serious collectors and investors demand, and these services employ expert graders who examine coins under magnification, apply consistent grading standards recognized throughout the hobby, and create secure holders with tamper-evident features that give buyers confidence in the grade end. Authenticity. The documented auction results speak for themselves. Major auction houses have handled premium 1965 quarters. Competitive bidding has driven prices to remarkable levels, and the market has consistently demonstrated that collectors will pay substantial premiums for the finest known examples of this historic first-year clad issue. Supporting this channel with a subscription helps us invest in better research and content. So if you're finding this worthwhile, I'd welcome your support as we continue delivering the detailed, thoroughly researched analysis that experienced collectors deserve and expect from serious numismatic content. Market analysis based on actual sales data reveals several factors driving strong demand for premium 1965 quarters. First, nostalgic appeal for baby boomers who remember when these coins first appeared in circulation, replacing the familiar silver quarters they'd known all their lives. Second, historical significance as the first clad Washington quarter, marking a fundamental transition in American coinage. Third, competition among registry set participants who need finest known examples to compete effectively in PCGS and NGC set rankings. And fourth, growing recognition among sophisticated collectors that condition rarity creates investment potential comparable to classic numismatic rarities. Condition importance with 1965 quarters demonstrates the extreme value gradation characteristic of modern coins. A circulated example trades at face value, period. There's no premium for circulated 1965 quarters regardless of grade. A typical uncirculated coin in MS-63 or MS-64 might bring a few dollars. An MS-65 specimen commands perhaps $20 to $50. But once you reach MS-66, values begin accelerating. MS-67 brings hundreds or low thousands, depending on eye appeal, and MS-68 or higher enters territory, where 5-figure and potentially 6-figure prices have been documented at major auctions. Discovery accounts provide both inspiration and practical guidance for collectors. Some premium 1965 quarters have emerged from original mint sets that were stored properly for decades, preserving the coins in their original condition. Others have surfaced from estate collections where someone had the foresight to save pristine example from the first year of clad production. And occasionally, original bank-wrapped rolls that remained sealed for 50-plus years have yielded gems when finally opened and examined by knowledgeable collectors who understood what they might contain. Professional guidance for anyone examining 1965 quarters must emphasize realistic assessment. First, look for any signs of circulation where whatsoever. Even the slightest friction on the high points eliminates premium value potential completely. Second, If the coin appears uncirculated, examine surface quality carefully under good lighting, looking for bag marks, contact marks, and any imperfections that limit grade potential. Third, assess luster quality to ensure it's vibrant, original, and unimpaired by cleaning or environmental damage. Fourth, evaluate overall eye appeal, considering how the coin strikes you visually. And fifth, if the coin appears truly exceptional, professional grading through PCGS, NGC, or ANAX is absolutely worth pursuing. Because the population data confirms that superb examples are genuinely rare and command prices that far exceed the modest cost of grading service submission. The comparative context within the Washington Quarter Series reveals the 1965's unique position. This is the pivotal date marking the transition from silver to clad composition, giving it historical significance beyond mere condition rarity. And when you combine that historical importance with genuine condition scarcity in top grades, you create a coin that appeals to multiple collector constituencies. Those seeking key dates, those pursuing finest known modern issues, and those who simply want the best example of this historic transitional year. Historical production context helps explain why gems are so scarce despite the enormous mintage. The U.S. Mint in 1965 was operating under tremendous pressure to produce coins quickly, striking quarters literally around the clock to meet commercial demand and replace silver quarters being withdrawn from circulation. So quality control focused on basic functionality rather than numismatic perfection, meaning coins were struck, bagged, and shipped with efficiency prioritized over preservation, creating an environment where pristine survivors represent fortunate accidents rather than intentional preservation. Market trends based on verifiable data show consistent strengthening in demand for high-grade 1965 quarters over recent years, driven by baby boomers reaching retirement age with accumulated wealth and pursuing coins they remember from their youth with serious financial resources, combined with younger collectors who recognize that condition rarity creates legitimate value regardless of age or original mintage size. Technical characteristics that professional graders evaluate include strike quality, which varies considerably among 1965 quarters. Some receive strong, crisp strikes that fully brought up all design details, while others receive weaker strikes that left certain areas soft or incompletely formed. So even among high-grade examples, strike quality creates desirability differences that affect value. Surface quality receives microscopic scrutiny at the highest grade levels, where professional graders examine coins under magnification looking for every tiny mark, every microscopic imperfection, because at MS67 and especially MS68 levels, the standards demand virtual perfection, and coins that make these grades truly represent the finest survivors from billions originally produced. Research methods for serious collectors involve regular consultation of PCGS and NGC population reports, which are updated as new submissions are graded and provide real-time data about exactly how many examples exist at each grade level. This information allows collectors to understand whether a particular coin represents genuine condition rarity or simply represents a nice example of a relatively available issue at that grade. For those of you who have stayed with me through this comprehensive examination of valuable Washington quarters, I want to express genuine appreciation for your interest and attention. Your willingness to engage with detailed, thoroughly researched content rather than superficial clickbait demonstrates the kind of serious collector mindset that makes this hobby rewarding and meaningful. If you found this analysis valuable, I'd be grateful if you'd subscribe to The Coin Hunter, because your support allows us to continue investing in the research, verification, and detailed presentation that respects your intelligence and experience. Share this information with fellow collectors who appreciate substantive content over hype, who value accuracy over sensationalism, and who understand that knowledge and careful authentication are the foundations of successful collecting. I encourage every viewer to examine your own collections carefully, paying particular attention to Washington quarters from these dates, looking for the exceptional preservation that creates value in modern coins. And remember that if you find examples that appear to be in superb condition, professional authentication through PCGS, NGC, or ANAX is absolutely worthwhile, because the population data confirms that truly gem examples are genuinely scarce and potentially quite valuable. The comments section welcomes your discoveries, your experiences, and your questions, because this channel thrives on the collective knowledge and shared passion of serious collectors who appreciate the history, artistry, and investment potential of American coinage. Thank you for your time and attention, and I look forward to bringing you more thoroughly researched, carefully documented content that treats you with the respect your experience deserves. This is the Coin Hunter, committed to delivering the detailed numismatic analysis that separates genuine value from mere speculation.